Namaskar all. I am your host Ashish Bhardwaj, a DPS Mathura Road alumnus, and I welcome you all to ALMA Talks, an initiative of DPS Alumni Network. Today I am joined by my co-host Tanya Khanna.
Hello everyone, this is Tanya Khanna from DPS Mathura Road, batch of 2008. I am working for a leading IT firm in Delhi presently.
Thanks Tanya. I will now invite Rajiv Soni to give a brief message on the show Phir Bhi Dil Hai Hindustani.
Thanks Ashish and Tanya. Welcome the two participants, Anilji and Devanga. Hi, how are you doing? Welcome everybody from 72 batch and the batchmates of Devanga. Nice to have you guys here. It's interesting to note how this particular show is taking off, and there are lots of things which are being discussed which somehow land up in the newspaper the next day. So I think this is some elementary Nostradamus kind of a thing, which is very interesting. We were talking about vaccines and how a particular Indian company was tying up with a Russian company. We were privy to this information by Devanga, and the very next day it's headlines. So keep coming, keep joining, keep referring, your friends and your relatives, maybe your grandchildren, maybe your nieces, nephews. Hopefully this will grow into something larger with your blessings. And one thing I want to tell everybody is that I got talking to Anilji and I realized that we both worked in the same company, which is ITC Hotels. And probably there must have been a duration of time when we were both there together, which is quite an amazing thing. And we were together at a party in February of this year.
Yeah.
Same party. We were there for lunch. Just imagine. I mean, how interesting is that?
Thank you, Rajiv. Today in this episode of Phir Bhi Dil Hai Hindustani, we have two guests from DPS Mathura Road. I will first introduce Mr. Anil Bidani of 1972 batch. He is based in Paris. He is a senior professional from the hospitality industry and has worked with large institutions like Hotel Meridian Paris, Marriott Sheraton Delhi, Meridian headquarters again in Paris, Meridian Delhi, and thereafter he's been associated as a consultant and advisor for various hotel projects, their merger and acquisition, development, etc. Nowadays, Anil is involved with a few projects with the hospitality sector as an advisor.
Our second guest is Mr. Devanga Dekov of the batch 1982. He's from Moscow. In school, Devanga was a Government of India Merit Scholarship holder, gown holder, sportsman who represented in his house and school in football, basketball, volleyball and athletics. In 12, he was the Chenab House captain. Devang moved to US in 1989 and shifted to Moscow in 2005, where he started his own construction company. His construction company specializes in building cottages, multi-story buildings. Earlier this year, the president of Russian Federation facilitated Devanga's firm for their wonderful work. Devanga stays in Moscow with his Russian wife and a daughter. I welcome Anilji and Devanga to this 12th episode of Phir Bhi Dil Hai Hindustani.
Yeah. Okay. So Anilji, I'll start the first question with you. Please briefly take us through your journey after DPS that led you to Paris.
Yeah, DPS, so it's passing out in 72.
Okay.
And then we were in Bhagat Singh College. Half our commerce section was in Bhagat Singh College, Delhi for BCom honors. So that's 3 years. So 75 passing out from Delhi University, then trying to get a job or some footing there, which didn't work. So I was offered to come to Paris to have further studies here. So 76, I came to Paris, did not find my suitable MBA course, and went to Austria for hotel management. Then from 78, passing out there, came back and got my first job in Paris, which is in Hotel Meridian. And after 1 year training, I was posted to Saudi Arabia, which I said no, being very young and not that desperate to go to that city. So I was told it is this way or the highway. So I left and got a job at Marriott Sheraton, and within 4 days from my leaving on 1st November, I think 7th, I was already inducted at Marriott in 1979.
Okay.
And from there, 1 year later, I was called back to Paris by the headquarters on my conditions. So joined back. Then till 82, I was here within hotel and the headquarters. And 82 to 86, I was there to open the Meridian New Delhi.
Okay.
And 86, I moved back to Paris. That was after the contract. I mean, 3.5 years there. Then I'm back to Paris, heading a reservation network for Meridian and other companies.
Mm-hmm.
Then we formed our own company,
Mm-hmm.
which lasted till 96. In 96, I had got an offer of, again, from ITC Hotels to be at their headquarters for development. So 96 to 2000, nearly 2000, I'm there, 99 end.
Okay.
And then back to Paris with the consulting with KPMG and some consulting firms. Then comes the 9/11 in USA, and the mergers and acquisitions suffered. So um, we were not that active for certain time. And after that is 2003, which is Anil Mancha-Romani's company, which I joined in Vectra. So 2003 to till retirement, I'm there. Got married while I was in Delhi.
So my next question to you is, what two personality traits learned in India have stood you in good position since then?
Well, first of all, France has been very, very welcoming. We didn't face any racism or anything here.
Okay.
It was a very, very small community
Mm-hmm.
when I came. I mean, it was even difficult to talk Hindi.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I saw anybody close, where I could speak Hindi and whatnot for the first 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And the opportunities also were not there because there were no Indians around that time.
Okay.
The Indians around were basically in the government organizations or students or hardly any. I mean, I can't name even 10 people I knew for the first 2 years here.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the connect. It was a very difficult connect with the Indian community to start with.
Okay.
Hardly any restaurants. They were very expensive. There were no shops. You couldn't buy anything Indian. So we had to adapt.
Okay. So adapting to the scenario is one trait. What else?
No, it was the first thing and the last thing to do because that was only the possibility at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody they didn't know, there was no connect with India, with the French people. I'm very few tourists, very few connect, and anybody, if you went even to talk trade, they would say India is a non-pair, so we don't want to do business.
Okay. Debanga, I'll now come over to you. Please briefly take us through your journey after DPS till today.
So I left. I completed my schooling from DPS and went to Chennai to do my engineering.
Okay.
जहाँ admission मिला वही जाना पड़ा. So finally, after finishing my engineering, I actually worked for 2 years in India.
Okay.
I worked for the Ministry of Tourism, which is something I didn't write. And during that time, I got a job in US. I met some people from there who offered me a job. So, nikal gaya. I went to US in '89. And then after going there, I decided to do my MBA. I did my MBA from Minnesota, Minneapolis, and got a job with a management consultancy company. It was one of the biggest in those days. We have our own management system for mainly for factories like Coca-Cola, Nokia, Sony, Panasonic, Nestle, Pfizer. They all use our management system. I joined as a junior trainee, and then I worked for many, many years. When I left the company, I was the vice president. For company work, I came to Europe first. I was posted to Europe in Ireland. I was managing the European operation basically. And during those days, we had a lot of work in Russia. So I used to come and go visit Russia quite often. When I met my wife, and she could not adjust herself to American way of life. So she didn't like America. She said, I don't want to live there. If you come to Moscow, then we can live together. So I had to leave my company and shift to Moscow. Once I came to Moscow, I decided to start my own business instead of looking for a job. And I started a construction company. Initially, we were doing mostly small flats and houses, building houses, small houses.
Mm-hmm.
And slowly, we developed into building multi-story buildings. In fact, right now, we are doing a project for the Indian government. It's
Okay.
about 500 crore rupees project.
Oh, wonderful.
So
Okay,
this will be my last project in Russia. Once this project is over, I'll go back to India.
Oh, okay, that's great. Now tell me what two personality traits that you have learned in India have actually stood you in good position or good stead wherever you have gone, whether it's USA, Europe, or Russia.
One I think is discipline, probably.
Okay.
I grew up in the hostel. DPS hostel was quite strict.
Mm-hmm.
We had to follow timetable, and we had to always be on time. And also in sports also we are always very disciplined. So I think that was disciplined. I mean, not disciplined in the sense that we listen to our teachers. I mean, disciplined in life,
True.
in doing it. So that was, I think, one trait that really helped me. Because when you come to the West,
Mm-hmm.
they value this discipline very well, discipline and time management and all. So that was one trait. Secondly, maybe all Indians are very friendly, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Look, friends, we make friends very easily.
Okay.
And especially in Russia, Russian people are totally opposite of what Indians are. They never make friends. It's very difficult for you to make a Russian friend. But I think because of my upbringing, I'm fortunate to have a lot of Russian friends now, and it always helps, So we are going ourselves, and we are introducing, we are making friends. We make them comfortable, and they understand that they can trust us. They can, they can be really our friends.
Okay.
I think these two mainly.
Wonderful. My second question is very industry specific for both of you. I'll ask this question to you first, Devanga. You have worked as a management consultant, then now you're an entrepreneur running your own enterprise. So tell me, what can India do to promote this concept of entrepreneurship in a much larger way?
I think doing business in India is not so easy, from what I understood. There are a lot of red tapeism, and a lot of still people are not very. There are a lot of corrupt people in the system, and starting a company and running a company legally is quite, I think, difficult in India. I think that should be changed. I think a lot of people would like to come. Like, I would like to go back and start a business on my own. So if the process of running and starting the businesses made it easier, maybe more people will come.
Okay.
Taxes may be another area they should look into. Like in Russia, a lot of people come. In fact, from France also, a lot of people run away to Russia because the taxation system is very simple and very low. Income tax is very low here. It's only 13% maximum, whereas in France it can go up to, I think, about 55-60%, depending upon your income.
Okay.
So I think I don't know about India, but I think taxation should be reduced. Tax should be reduced so more people will pay taxes.
And ease of doing business is what you say.
And ease of operating business. Yes, these two.
Okay, perfect. Anilji, I'll come to you. You have been a veteran in the hospitality industry. So tell us how this industry per se has changed from the time you joined to the present day scenario.
Well, I think it's a total change in the attitude, in the education, in everything. Because when we started with the motto service and service, and you have to be a yes sir, That was our education. The client has never to go satisfied. He is always right, and everything of that sort. So service first.
Okay.
And as a trainee or in the school, we were taught You are serving the client, and the only service you ask him is at last to pay the bill.
Mm-hmm.
So he's giving you your remuneration at the end of your services when he likes it.
Okay.
Today, I think it's all the other way around, because when you book anything, restaurant, hotel, air ticket, whatever, you are paying in advance.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a complete turnaround of what the education of our times is, and now it is. Today, a client is a number. We were in five-star industry, we were supposed to know every client by his name and an address. I mean, whatever this thing. Today, there is nothing of that sort. Today, it's an industry like any other. You are just a number. In fact, I mean, people don't know you. There is no reception. There is no. I mean, very five-star deluxe hotels also practically do not know you by name, except a few clients who are regularly coming or are celebrities.
Okay.
So that's a big difference in the whole industry today.
Okay. Perfect. So tell me, Anilji, although this is just a carryover question on this, hospitality industry has a very big role to play. It's the toughest times. Do you think the older learnings will help them bounce back faster?
No, I don't think that learning is passé because of all the digitalization, the computer, even the production, which was supposed to be the star, this thing, of hotels and restaurants where we were cooking with the fresh ingredients, and there were people and the decoration, all that.
Mm-hmm.
Today we don't find, because half the food coming is frozen.
Mm-hmm.
And it is semi cooked in many stages, in even in the best of the restaurants. So we just prepare very quickly. The number of people are just maybe 2 or 3 in the kitchen. They were a team of maybe 40 people for a good restaurant.
So the modern knowledge as well as the current things will help the industry bounce back faster.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, Anilji, my next question is to you only. You migrated in 1976. Tell me, how were your initial years for you and your family once you got married and went back? So how was the initial years? Did you people find it difficult to adjust to a non-English speaking European country?
Well, my first years are not when I was a bachelor. 76 to 84. 84 onwards. No, I think this adaptation word
Mm-hmm.
was already in the mind. And as I did it, I did look back. I knew I had to adapt to this society with no English, with no Indian food, with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was not coming on my terms that I have to go and pray. I need a mandir, or I need to go and eat Indian, or I need to wear Indian. Of course, on occasions, whenever they presented, we are still Indians, we are doing it. But the adaptation was more towards, when we came in, that we have to get adjusted to our, and we have to bring the society towards our culture when we need,
Mm-hmm.
rather than imposing something that we will not till it is our culture. So that adaptation was in the mind. First thing I did when I reached Paris was to get enrolled for French classes. And same is with my wife. Within 5 days, I think we reached around 25th December 85, and 2nd January she was already at Alliance Française learning, and full course of 4 hours per day. So within 3 or 4 months we were functional here.
Okay. So I'll ask the same question to Devanga. How were your initial struggles in Russia?
It was very difficult because of the language problem to begin with. Secondly, the Russians are very, very, what you can say, they are suspicious of foreigners to begin with, because of their, I think, upbringing or whatever political issues they have. You are not accepted into their community very easily. So unless you learn the language and unless you know the language very well, you will not be able to they will not accept you as their friends or even as their colleagues. So they will do the work whatever you give, and but it will not be done wholeheartedly. So it took some time. It took some time for me to first learn the language properly, to read, write, speak. And then also to learn the culture itself. It is different. It is different from Indian culture or Western culture. There are a lot of differences because I have lived in US and Europe. So I can differentiate the small nuances that makes the Russian culture somewhat different. To understand them was you have to when they speak something, it sounds like they are actually abusing you. So in the beginning, I thought like why they are so angry, and then only later I realized that they're not angry. That's the way they speak. When they don't know you, they speak like that to everybody. So initial stage, it was quite difficult for me. But then after about maybe 2 years, things became all right.
Okay, perfect. So tell me, Devanga, in your current work routine, is there any reference to India?
No, I work with Russian clients.
Okay.
So except this last project that I'm doing, otherwise nothing.
So in this last
No,
project, you're doing it for the government of India.
yeah. But I'm involved with the embassy a lot. I used to go with the ambassador to different cities. Um, uh, um, the governor of those states used to invite us, and we used to go and meet all the local businessmen to promote Indian businesses in those areas. So it was interesting, and you get to know a lot of companies, local companies. Then a lot of Indian companies used to come to look for some new opportunities. And being in the business myself, so ambassador was quite dependent on me to give advice on how to start a business, how to go about running your company in Russia and those kind of things. So I'm fully involved with the embassy for past 10 years.
Okay, so there is a direct reference to India in almost regular work in
Yes.
Perfect. Anilji, how about you?
I've been lucky. I've been lucky to have India always on the map, wherever I was and whatever I was doing. So it would come. I mean, not that I initiated India, but I got very major projects in events and cultural issues also from government of France, which took me to India very often, and also very enterprising because we didn't have a clue of many things which we were leading as a company. The main reference here is Festival of France in India, inaugurated by the President Mitterrand and Rajiv Gandhi on 4th of February 89. We started work on 1st January 87 for that project.
Okay.
So it has never, I mean, I've never been out of India at any score at any time.
Okay, that's wonderful.
So, Anil, what do you think are the two main differences in working and living between the France and India?
I'll tell you my initial years when I came back to India first time after coming to France and then Austria.
Sure.
When I go back to India, our school friends also and other friends, they ask me what is the difference. 2 साल पेरिस कहते हैं वहां पे ग्लास की स्ट्रीट्स हैं, बहुत क्लीन है, बहुत वगैरह. सो आई हैड दीज 4-5 phrases. I used to say, बच्चे रोते नहीं हैं, कुत्ते भौंकते नहीं हैं, बादल गरजते नहीं हैं, और गुलाब इतने बड़े बड़े हैं पर उनमें खुशबू नहीं है, और लोग सच बोलते हैं. We could depend on what verbally any business or your bosses or anybody was saying. Yes, that meant yes. If it is coming, payments coming, is gone. They won't lie. Even if it was a bitter truth, they would come straight forward and say that time that this is how it works.
It's very touching and heartening to hear this.
Yeah. It was, and as I said, we were not as Indians or as individual. We did not face any sort of racism that time. Against the Arab people. There was Moroccans, Algerians we could see. So we had quietly to say, I am not a Moroccan or Algerian, I'm Indian, and things would change.
That's wonderful. Devanga, how about you? What were the two main differences in working and living between Russia and India?
Working, I'm not sure how the situation in India is right now, but from the time I used to travel to India quite often and had some interaction with government officials and businessmen, I found that we Indians do not have a sense of time. Time management is very poor in India, I think so. Everybody goes late to the work. They will never do the work on time and things like that. But here, people are very particular about time. Timing is very important. Secondly, like Mr. Anil said, Moscow is also part of Europe, so the similar culture. The people don't lie, and a lot of things are done with just words. You don't need a written documents. You just if he gives a word, he will keep it. You can be very sure that he will keep that word. So I think, and also the workers are very disciplined. They come to work on time. They do their work. They will not, manipulate the time. They will do their work very well. So I think I'm not sure. I hope that in India also it's the same. But my experience was different. So I think this is the difference in work culture. And personal level, I think we Indians are better in one way, that we are very friendly people. I mean, compared to Russian, I'm talking about. I don't know about French people. So we tend to make friends very easily. We tend to trust people, invite them home. So it's very normal. So you have a community which is quite big in India. Your friend circle, big friend circles. So here you don't have, most families in Russia, they are very small families, they're nuclear families, and their circle is very limited, maybe 1 or 2 friends and 1 or 2 relatives, that's it. So if they have a wedding here, it's like 10 or 12 people, is like very big wedding.
Is it?
Yeah, so because these are the number of people who are close to them, that's all. So I think this is a big difference between Indian culture and Russian culture.
So, as a first generation of migrant, how often do you come to India?
Oh, I wish I could go every year, but I cannot. Once we start a project, construction project, we continuously work, so it's very difficult. Earlier, I used to go once in 2 years, but my wife and my daughter goes every year. During winter, they go for the winter holidays, stay with my family. So my daughter is very close to all my nephews and nieces, and like, so they keep that touch. Also, my parents come and visit me sometimes.
And usually, how long is your visit to India? Where do you stay, and what do you do while you're there in India?
Okay, my visits are always very long. It's a minimum of 1.5 to 2 months, because I fly into Chennai usually. Chennai, all my college mates and friends. Then I go to Bangalore, where my sister is. Then I go to Delhi, where all my school friends are. Then only I go to Assam, my native place, where all my relatives are, family. So then we have a very big family. Like my father said, there were 10 brothers and sisters. My mother said 10 brothers and sisters. I have 4 sisters. So visiting them takes away all my time. Every day I have to go somewhere and have dinner.
That's very, very warmth. This trip would be filled with very warmth, then I would imagine.
Yes, very, very, very interesting, and like to get after meeting people after so much of time.
So, Mr. Anil, as a first generation of migrant, how often do you come to India?
As I told you, I've been very lucky with getting many projects in India. So I would say average is more than 4 times a year.
Wow.
And last few years, it could have gone up even to 6 or 7 times a year.
And where do you stay when you're here while in India?
My mother is there in Greater Kailash, and my mother-in-law is in Panchil. So one of the two. If the family is there, we are at Panchil. And if I'm alone, then I'm with my mother in GK.
How about some, Indian festivals? How do you celebrate major Indian festivals over there in Paris?
I think we are celebrating them even bigger than we would do in India. because we have at least a couple of associations here, and at least there are 4 very big functions of more than 100 150 people.
Okay.
And one is even hosted now since 5 years at the city hall, which accommodates more than 700 800 people for Diwali. And I think the whole community is there for between that, the whole community we meet during that time. So it's Diwali for sure, even Holi and other festivals, smaller associations, there is always something going on the Indian frontier, always.
That's very wonderful to hear. What about you, Mr. Deka? How do you celebrate major Indian festivals over there?
In Russia, we have 2 organizations. One is called Hindustani Samaj, which all the Hindustanis are member, and then we have a business association, Indian Business Alliance. Both associations have different programs in a year. Usually it's Holi, Diwali, Dashera. So we have a lot of cultural shows. There are a lot of Russian groups which dances Indian dances and music. It's very popular here. So we always invite somebody from India to come and take part, like Hema Malini or some film stars. So they always, they love to come. Indian Embassy celebrates Republic Day and Independence Day. For the after the Republic Day celebration, we always have a dinner party organized by Indian Embassy, but not everyone is invited. But and sometimes some big politician comes from India, like we had the opportunity to meet late Pranab Mukherjee, then late our Foreign Affairs Minister, forgetting her name, the lady who. So even Mr. Modi.
Right.
So somebody or the other comes, and we always have a big party. So that's how we celebrate.
Wonderful.
Now, gentlemen, we will have a quick rapid fire round. Anilji, I will play this rapid fire round with you. Please answer my quick 5 questions in maximum 1 or 2 sentences. So my first question to you is your best high school memory.
Yeah, high school memory is when we were skipping onto the Sundarnagar, that coffee house,
Sweets corner.
And we were caught, all of us, in a full batch and given yellow cards or something. If you all remember 72, many of us were at the Sundarnagar having papdi chaat and whatnot, and the head boy comes in and announces all of us, there.
So my next question is, what 3 words would you use to describe India?
Well, extraordinary, extraordinary, incredible India.
Next question is a self-discovery during the lockdown.
Well, having a whiskey alone.
And what is the best compliment you have ever received?
कि तू गधा है.
And by whom?
Who else?
Okay. My last question to you is, if you are made a Prime Minister of India for a day, what is the most important change you would want to institute?
I think I will give the importance to the industry I belong to, that is hospitality, which is suffering, which has never had any sort of say in this Indian government, because even a minister, it's not a cabinet rank or whatever. So I'll give tourism some more, because it's all invisible exports, and the jobs which it creates, I don't think it gets its due share from the government.
Okay, fine. So with that, I come to this rapid fire round, the end of this rapid fire round with you, sir. Tanya, over to you.
So my rapid fire is with you, Dibanga. Shall I go ahead with the first question? So, okay, let us start. The first question is, which is the best country or the state that you would have stayed in?
Which is the best country I have not stayed in?
You have stayed in.
I have stayed in. Best country? No, that's obvious, India.
Describe your days in DPS in 3 words.
Fun, friends, and good education.
Your favorite breakfast.
Favorite breakfast would be chole bhature, I think.
One thing you would put on your bucket list today.
One thing I put on my bucket list is maybe go back to India and start my own restaurant in Goa, a Russian one.
That's the dream. So what's the best thing that happened to you in this month?
In this month, I had a lot of sleep because we are not working properly.
Great. So with that, we conclude the rapid fire round. Now my next question is for Dibanga, you only. Please give us 2 instances where your dil is still Hindustani.
I think it's food again. You can make out from my figure that I am very fond of food. So I'm very fond of Indian food. For some reason, I've tasted practically everything in the world, but nothing to beat the Indian, especially the Punjabi food. I love it. So that is
And
one.
what is the second?
Second, I think respect for the elders. This is something I haven't seen in Western countries so much. There are people who respect, but not the kind of respect that we give to our elders when we meet. I can give you an example if it's okay. When my first time my wife went to India with me, she's a Russian. So I told her that you have to touch feet, like to show your respect. It's my father or some elderly person. So she was okay with that. We started meeting and a lot of people started coming. Then my father's friends started coming home and I was going and touching their feet. And she didn't understand me. She was asking me, but why are you touching their feet? Like they're not your relatives or they. So I think this is a cultural difference that we always have respect for all elders. It doesn't matter.
So true. That is lovely. Anil, can you please give us 2 instances where your dil is still Hindustani?
No, I think we are Hindustani by the core somewhere. Because first of all, I haven't changed my citizenship. The family is French. I still remain to be Indian. I've never even thought about it. So that's one incidence where, I mean, I just don't want to lose my passport. Second thing is, the friends and the relatives, that respect and mutuality, what the bond is with India. I've never felt I've been outside, to be very frank. I used to get bored anywhere if it's more than 2 months stay. So India has always been there. So I can't even disassociate myself from India.
Beautiful. And do you have any plans to shift back to India permanently?
Well, we are already there. I mean, we have 1 foot here and 1 foot there. If it can continue, that is the best situation.
Wonderful. And how about you, Deka? Do you have any plans to shift back to India permanently?
Yes, absolutely. I plan to leave Russia next year, by end of next year, shift to India permanently. But if the project gets delayed for some reason, maybe it can be extended by 1 more year. But right now the plan is to return by next year. But I have had enough, over 30 years living abroad. Time to go back.
So what changes would you like to see in India that, that would make you seriously consider, returning to India, and you would love to see those changes?
I think I would like to see Indian people taking pride in their work. They do the work properly. Then otherwise the country cannot rise. The government can have hundreds of projects. If the people are not working honestly and not putting their effort into it, then nothing is going to happen. So I think that's something I would like to see in India happening.
Thank you, Tanya. Debanga, my next question is, when did you last visit DPS?
1998 was actually 2004. I went to DPS. I was not allowed to go inside. So I had to leave from not the main gate, but I could go up to the reception area and come back. But in 1998, I went inside because the watchman knew me from hostel days. So he allowed me inside, and then I went and met a lot of teachers. I went roamed around the whole building. Nobody stopped me. Met a lot of teachers, old teachers, and then went to the hostel. In fact, the hostel wardens and all, they made me sit there and have lunch, and so it was interesting. 1998.
Great. Okay. And how about you, Anil? When was your last visit to DPS?
No, I think it's long back, maybe at least 35 years. I went twice there, and I went into the school and I asked if I could register myself as a dipsite. And I was crudely told there is nothing called a dipsite. There is no such there's no such organization or anything. And I mean, that's it, you know. I both the times I didn't get any heed towards that initiative I took. So I came back.
Okay. And you keep meeting your batchmates regularly?
Yeah, batchmates has always been there. So as I said, that half of us from school were in the same class in same college at Bhagat Singh. So we had that privilege. So we have never lost touch, in fact. And I think everybody coming in Paris from the batch, what we know, we have been meeting here also very often in Paris. We have never lost an opportunity to meet whenever anybody's in France also, in Paris especially.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so now I'm at the last question now, which is for you, Anil. What is your message for DPS alumni community?
I mean, together is strength. So networking and whatnot. I think today in the next digital world, that will be even more important. To come up with many challenges and many experiences, because a lot of things are going to be virtual. So if that unity can be formed somewhere and it can be expanded into a network, that can be a very big strength and a political or social message to if we are all combined and having the same line of message somewhere, it can work wonders.
Okay, thank you. And what about you, Debanga? What would be your message to the DPS alumni community?
My message would be probably for the younger generation like Tanya. So हम लोग तो बूढ़े हो गए. Whatever you could do to bring up the DPS name up, we have done. So it's in your hand now. Keep the flag flying high. DPS flag.
Okay. So with that, we come to an end of the our first section of the interview. I thank you, Debanga, and thank you, Anil, for taking time out and talking to us. It's been wonderful to know about your incredible journey, and I'm sure it will inspire many dipsites.
I'm 1972 batch MR, and I'm retired from my business now and staying in Noida and enjoying my life now. Whatever I've done for last 35, 40 years.
Hi. Yeah, I'm 1976 batch, and I'm a resident of Gurgaon. I work with startups, funding and mentoring.
I'm Anil Manshuramani, 1972 batch, Satlaj House. I stay in Noida. I work with Vectra.
Hi, I'm Dinesh Madan, a 1972 batch, Mathura Road. Well, I was the basketball captain of the school, and by profession, I'm a pharmacist, but I'm retired, almost retired now, don't work, just enjoying life. And Anil Bidani has been a very close friend for pretty long time now. We keep meeting whenever he's around. Love to have him here.
Hi guys, this is Gurpreet. I stay in Gurgaon. I am 1988 batch Mathura Road, Yamuna House. Although I may be wrong there. I was in the hostel too, like Dibang, maybe 6 years junior to him. So I've gone through the grind just like him. And it's great to connect with you all. I'm an architect here in Gurgaon and I have my own practice.
I was in class 5, 6, 7, 8 and started 9th class and left DPS because my father was transferred. So I would have been in the 73 batch. And I have fond memories of all my classmates. I mentioned on the Facebook, I was very pleased to see that Yogesh Bahadur, he was my classmate. Ashutosh Valli, he was my classmate. These are 73 batch people. Ravi Katpalia, Balbir Singh, there was a girl, Prabha Swami. So I know some of the names, remember them. So Rakesh Govil, they were in the same batch. I live in a city called Stavanger in Norway.
Okay.
I've been living in Norway since I came here in 1987. I'm a physician and consultant physician and psychiatrist. And it's lovely to have come to the site. And I think this is a very nice way to revive good memories. I was in Ravi House, Mathura Road.
I am Utpal Mani Kandoli. I am from 79 batch, Jhelum House, DPS Mathura Road. I live in Assam.
Hi, there are quite a few of us from 1972 batch. I am also one of them. In 1972, there was only Mathura Road. And
The last batch.
most of us, I think Anil is the only exception who is not retired. But Anil is enjoying life even without retirement. We are all retired and enjoying our lives. We meet very frequently. It's been 6 months since we met because of this lockdown. Otherwise, we meet every month. And whenever Anil comes from France, we make it a point to meet when he's around.
Hi, Ashish. Thanks, everyone. 1976 batch, DPS Mathura Road. I'm very happy to see Vinod Mehra. He stays just about 2 kilometers from where I stay. We do meet, though not very often, but very nice to see you here today, Vinod. 2 very quick points which I have heard up to now from our participants. The first is honesty, which is appreciated by a lot of people around the globe. I'm very sad to say, except in our country. And second is adaptability, which is a huge plus. And I think if we are able to adapt to situations, then we can take the next step forward. What do I do now? I'm a chartered accountant, but I don't practice. I'm an ex-hotelier. I'm today a writer. And now the DPS Alumni Network takes away a good 30% of my time. I'm very happy. I'm very proud. I'm very happy to see all of you. And Jai Hind.
Good evening, everybody. It was nice listening to Deka and Anil and listening to them with their experiences. I'm practicing chartered accountant. I'm still practicing and I'm a law graduate also, but I'm practicing as a chartered accountant. 72 batch, Mathura Road, Jhelum House, and that is my 72 batch. We have Anil here, Rajiv, Dinesh, Brijesh, and Mada. I'm not retired as yet. I'm still practicing, and my wife has retired as a secretary to the Government of India. So I've enjoyed both the professional life as well as the bureaucratic side of the life, and that's it. That's how it has been. And Anil has been a good friend since I think now first we met somewhere back in 1962. That's how far it goes back. It's been a long journey, Anil.
Yes. No, we are proud to be the part of the Dost, because I think that's one of the associations which is very live and active. And
Yes.
of course, we are part of that. So we feel very proud to be part of it.
Hi, actually I left school in 79, but that comes to be my 81 batch. I was the last guy for the 10+2. I'm from a place called Kapurthala, And whenever you guys in Punjab, do let me know. I'm doing business here, a little bit of politics also. So if you guys ever come to Punjab, please have my number. I'm going to post my number also. And it was great catching up with everyone. Thanks to Decca, he got me involved today. And it was great hearing stories about everyone. I like the story of 62. And I was born in 62. So it was really sounding really great. Anyway, thanks a ton for involving us. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kiranji. And
I'm Gaurav Khanna from DPS Mathura Road, batch 2016, and I'm currently, my graduation have been completed from IT University, and I have chosen the field of audiology and speech language pathology.
Question to both these people who are out of India and who's Delhi Hindustani. I want to ask you, between when you shifted out to France and to Moscow, and now, over the years that you've been there, is the perception and respectability of Indians changed over these years, or has it become better? Is it the same, or is it worse?
Shall I answer?
Yes, please.
Yeah. When I first started working in Paris, I never thought we could rise in this country beyond a certain limit. Now there are people of the CEO levels which are there. I had never thought that mental change will come because we had no Indian at any even managerial post in the hotel industry in the town that time. I had never thought we could reach even a department head level, you know, in a required time. Today the whole perception is changed. We have in every industry many CEOs, especially in banks, finance, even hotels. So certainly that is a big change in the perception of the Indians as workers, as the intelligence, and their acceptability towards the society. Of course, I'm reiterating that we did not face any racism here.
Okay.
In Russia, should I say? Yeah. Okay. In Russia, definitely there is a change because in the early 90s and beginning of this century, India was slowly going away from Russia. During Soviet Union time, India was the only country people felt that they're their friends. So there were no other countries were considered to be their friends. But during 90s and 2000 up to 2005 or 6, things changed and maybe politics changed. But in the past, say about, I would say since Mr. Modi came to power, and after his visit to Russia, he developed a very good relationship with the president of Russia. To the extent that the Russian president himself started learning yoga and things like that, we just promoted India in a big way because President Putin was promoting it. And the perception has changed because now, once again, Indians are feeling that we are proud to call ourselves Indian in the society here now. So you get the respect that you are an Indian, which we lost for some time. Also, they feel that Indians, they can trust Indians, and compared to some other Western countries, I think we are more comfortable now living in Russia.
Hi guys, please allow me to ask 2 questions instead of 1.
Sure, go ahead.
The first one being that I feel that in all the past sessions also and today also, we hardly remember our maths or chemistry marks, but everybody remembers very fondly the yellow cards and the red ones. So do you advise us to all the junior students to get more fond memories and more yellow cards and red cards in future?
Bunk more sessions, go to more Sundar Nagar cafes.
I think that would be more fun. And Devang being a hostler like me, I gathered enough yellow cards in the hostel. So I don't know, I want to hear some stories from Devang about the hostel. And on a serious note, I would be very interested to know both the illustrious gentlemen what sort of projects are they involved in? And especially the one that Debang is doing in Russia for the Indian government.
Okay, I'll share something about the hostel life. In 82 batch was probably the only batch where maximum number of students studied together for almost 7 years. Usually people come to hostel, then they leave, and again new students comes. So our batch was quite notorious because we grew up together in the hostel, and house wardens were more lenient towards us. So we used to bunk a lot. We used to go for night shows. We used to go to dhaba, this Oberoi's, mini Oberoi's.
Oberoi dhabas.
Yeah, so there were a lot of, we were always bunking from the hostel. And of course, the teachers knew that we were bunking. So when we finished our plus 12, when there was a farewell dinner, Dr. Varech was at that time our principal. When I joined, it was Mr. Dindia.
Yeah.
So Dr. Varech, after the dinner, he asked us, okay, I want you to tell me one secret. I know that you all used to bunk from the hostel, but how did you manage to get out of the hostel? Which was your road? Which road you used to take to go out of the hostel? So we said that we'll tell you the road, but you have to promise that you will not block that road. Said, yes, I promise. I said it was through your house. Because that was the only direction where the watchmen were not watching at all. Nobody even thought that we could, go through Lion's Head.
So on that note, let me also tell you an interesting anecdote. During our time, 86 to 88, when I was there, this mini Oberoi guy had some brainstorm, and he had a scheme there running for hostlers on Saturday that you have to buy rotis. Dal was free. So a batch of 10 would go there and buy 2 rotis, and a whole kilo of dal would go. So 1 or 2 times he understood that yaar ye galat ho gaya hai scheme. So he said, no, you have to buy dal, rotis free. This time you had 2 katoris of dal there, and 6 of us probably had 200 rotis or something. you know how hostel is. Very interesting stories in the hostel, and very fond memories from that time.
Regarding this architecture side, you being an architect, probably you must have heard the name Zaha Hadid.
Of course, yes.
Okay, I had the opportunity of working with her when I was working for the American company. We did some projects together where she was involved. In Russia, when I started, during that time there were 2 architects.
India will definitely find an opportunity to kiss your hand, sir.
I'm not so big, but anyway, so I had 2 Italian architects who
Zaha
were.
Hadid is very, very well respected. Sorry to interrupt you. Zaha Hadid is very, very well respected in our communities, and I'm a personal fan of hers.
So there were 2 Italian architects who were working with in that project, who came actually when I started my construction company. We 3 became partners and we started together in Russia.
Wonderful.
And so most of my earlier work is mostly interior work. In small, all the rich people, they used to build cottages. So we used to build those cottages, big cottages, very high budget cottages. And the interior, they wanted the interior in a particular way, like the Sheikh of something like that. They will come, they would have seen in some film, and they will say, I want exactly the copy of this. So we started doing, so we have a lot of projects where the interiors are really good. Then buildings also, we have won 2 awards so far. Twice, it was in 2006 and 2009, the best design of the year award by my architects. And when we had the World Cup, we designed all the stalls in all the stadiums in Russia.
Wow.
By the way, ours is the only foreign company which was allowed to work inside the Russian Orthodox Church.
Wow. And what about the last project that you're doing for the Indian Embassy?
Indian Embassy. Actually, this was a tender about 2 years ago. We had there was a tender, about 30 companies took part, We are one of them. We won the tender, and the design of the building is from the temple in Chidambaram. There is a Shiva temple in Chidambaram.
Acha, acha.
So the complex looks like the temple basically.
Okay.
Eco-friendly architecture.
Mm.
It has 3 buildings for the staff, and then there is a school, 4-story, and then there is an underground sports complex with a swimming pool and everything, tennis court and everything, all underground. This was about approximately 500 crore rupees project. We are in the middle of it right now.
And this is located where?
It is in the there is a park called Victory Park in Moscow.
Okay, okay.
Close to Victory Park, very close to Victory Park.
Wonderful.
Very nice location, one of the prime location in Russia, and we had a lot of trouble getting permission to build because the building was looking like a temple.
Wonderful.
I had one project in Thailand, which I don't think it may complete or not complete, but otherwise I am on verge of retirement, so no projects at the moment.
I live in Canada now, but I joined the hotel industry. So from that perspective, I wanted to ask Anilji and Deka as to, you mentioned something about in hospitality, you see managers. So did you get into hospitality? I apologize, I missed the initial part of it.
So this question is to Anil.
Anilji, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have been in hotels particularly in practical all aspects of hotelry. That means from development or end was development, starting with operations and then sales and marketing, then reservation systems, and then the general management and the development part. So I have gone through. Yeah.
How did you get into the hospitality line?
No, because I did hotel management in Salzburg. So
Okay.
so I mean, immediately after that, that was only the way out. I mean.
Interesting. And for Deka, you mentioned you wanted to open a restaurant in India. From being in construction, what is interesting to you in the hotel industry to get into food service?
Yeah, I'll tell you that. Actually, although I am in this industry, I also have used to have an Indian restaurant in Moscow, which I
see.
Recently closed. But I was running an Indian restaurant, India Lounge. The name was. So I have some experience of running a restaurant of my own. The reason why we decided to have start a restaurant in Goa, because my wife, she agreed to go back to India under the condition that we will live in Goa eventually, because it's beach, and the Russians, they all like beaches. And then she said, I would like to meet Russian people, and a lot of Russians goes to Goa. So we decided that we'll build a house, ground floor we'll make it into a Russian restaurant. Not for money, but mainly to interact with Russian people, so she doesn't lose touch with her roots.
Got it. Very interesting. Thank you for answering those questions.
Sanjeevji, I missed out. Which batch are you from?
Well, I'm from 74 batch, H section, Sutlej.
Happy to see a lot of people here today from different batches and some interesting questions. It's good. It makes me feel very happy to see that questions are coming, answers are being given, shared, and a perspective is being shared. And that's about it. Great.
Opportunity to thank Anil. As I wrote on the Facebook page, wonderful that the 3 days that we were in Paris, he was with us one day, and he took time off to show us the city, the landmarks in the city, and it was wonderful spending that time with him. I think subsequent to that, we met him once in Delhi.
Yeah.
The whole big 72 group, where I'm also a part because I'm the spouse of a batch 72. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to say a big thank you to Anil.
No, it's I'm looking forward to a better and a longer trip next time once all that is over.
Oh yes, if you are there, that will be a big pull.
And maybe one of those gatherings.
Oh, yes. Thanks so much. Yeah.
Pleasure. Thank you.
And we shall definitely meet you when you are here in Delhi. As
Yeah.
in this
It's on
situation.
the agenda. Wherever restrictions go, we'll be there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a question for everyone who is outside the country. In this case, as of now, there are 3 people. What is your fondest memory of coming back to a reunion or meeting with friends in India, or what your schoolmates did for you while you were in India, or your family? So, who wants to go first?
I can. Okay, please.
No.
Followed by
I will just say that the 72 batch, the first meeting around what 10 years, 12 years ago at Ravi Jaipuria's, it was something called nostalgia. It has never stopped after that. So I mean, but the first one meeting many people after 40 years. You can't imagine the joy. There were nearly tears in the eyes. It was absolute nostalgia. I call it.
Wonderful.
And the pleasure is always there because I mean, those are meeting, of course, every month and whatnot, which we follow on WhatsApp. But when we go once a year and you meet still 7, 8, 10 people, it is another sort of joy which cannot be expressed, in fact.
Okay. And how about you, Deka? You wanted to share some experience?
Yeah, actually, not my own experience, but my wife's experience of meeting a dip site.
Okay, please go ahead, sir.
I couldn't go home, so I had to send her alone. And she was not very confident that she will be able to manage, because from international airport, she has to go to the domestic airport to take another flight to go to Assam.
Okay.
So, her English level is quite low. So I said, don't worry, I have friends in Delhi. They will come and help you. My school friend, hostel friends are there. And she didn't believe that somebody will actually come to meet her. And it so happened that 5 people came to the airport in the morning. It was around 3 o'clock in the morning. And one of them forced her to stay with them. He came with his wife and made us stay in their house for 5 days. You got to Delhi, Agra, Jaipur. After all sightseeing and everything, they booked a new ticket and send them back to India, to send them home to Assam, to my parents. And when she came back, she was surprised. She said, "Oh, you must," and had very close friends and things like that. So when did you last meet him? I said, about 35 years ago. So that bond, like school time bond was still there. You never felt. Even today, when I think of my hostel mates, we have our hostel group, and we feel as if we are still in the hostel. That the bonding is there, very strong.
Okay. Any experience like this, Sanjeev ji, at your end?
So in my case, I have unfortunately not been in touch with a lot of my classmates, except with a couple of people. I do, really like to go to DePaul's and have my coffee with Ashwini. I don't know if you all know Ashwini Katpalia.
Yeah.
He's one person I always visit. And the other person that I'm in touch with is Rajiv Bawa. But we haven't had any, and unfortunately, every time the dip sites have a program or a get together, I've not been in India. I look at the pictures and enjoy them, but unfortunately have never been a part of it. But looking forward to it. Hopefully this will be a beginning for me to get in touch with more dip sites.
Rajiv, I have a question for you. You have been interacting with a lot of dip sites worldwide. Share your various experiences. How is the interaction?
I think it's been warmest every time.
Okay.
See, we have to remember one thing, and this is something I learned when I was in the US. for some years. You know, we must precede a call with the message.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people are busy around the world. They're working. Can't just pick up the phone and say, hey, hi. You know, it doesn't work. It's not in their system anymore. So I think if we follow some basic rules, I've had almost everybody call me back. The number of people I've met on this particular talk show is unbelievable. I mean, you know almost all of them, know a lot of people. I mean, just send a message and they will call you back and then you explain the concept. So I think it's been a very, very warm, it's been very warm, and I'm very happy, you know, that things are now. So yeah, so I think it's good. It's picking up. I'm happy to receive, I'm happy, and I'm sure Tanya and you will be equally happy to receive any feedback, you know, that you feel that we can do to improve it. I made some notes here today, and you know, I want to make it a little more interesting, a little more humorous, a little more, you know, catchy. So if you have any thoughts, with the byline being "Dil hai phir bhi Hindustani" या "फिर भी दिल है Hindustani." So if you get any ideas, if you get any thoughts, please write us those thoughts.
One last question for Debang. Do you have a Russian red color cap?
टोपी सर पे लाल टोपी फिर भी दिल है हिंदुस्तानी.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you so much for all your patience and being great guests and great participants. And we look forward to seeing you next week at the same time. Thank you so much, and namaskar. Captured.